Welcome to Ask Me Anything. This is interesting. We have not done this before, and we're kind of virgins when it comes to this. But Art Picnic, our tech god at Reykjavík Grapevine, he understands exactly how this works. So if you're watching this right now, or however this works, or you're just feeling it somewhere, then you can, of course, join us and ask us anything, I guess. My name is Valur Grettisson. I'm an editor-in-chief at Reykjavík Grapevine. And so actually, in the comment with one of my fast-playing videos, someone said, like, I still don't get his name. It's like, sounds like the password to my Wi-Fi or something. So
well, say it slowly then, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. My name is actually really basic in Icelandic. It's Valur. It's not that far away from value. It's V-A-L-U-R. So it's like, yeah, but my last name is a little bit more difficult though. It's Grettisson. It's like, if you know the Viking Grettir the Strong, he is pretty internationally known. That was my father's name. So,
fun fact: this is also the name given to Garfield in Icelandic.
Yes. Okay, we have people. Jesus, don't you want to introduce you perhaps?
Yes, I would love to. I'm Andie Sophia Fontaine. I'm the news editor here at Reykjavík Grapevine, and this is also the first Ask Me Anything that I've ever participated in, as myself or as a part of the Grapevine team. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out.
Yeah, we have guests. Perhaps Art will connect them to us somehow. Do I need to do something? Oh, I hear something. Hello.
No dead air.
Hey, welcome.
Hello and welcome.
Can you hear us? A German.
Okay. Better with speakers on.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you from Germany?
Nice to meet you.
You too, man. Where are you from?
Sorry?
Where are you from?
France. Fraklandi.
Fraklandi. Is your name for any chance Yves Monniers?
Exact. Yeah.
Wow. Close to home. We actually have your questions. We've been thinking about them. They're good questions.
Really? One of them I have the answer now because I read an article yesterday about that.
Okay.
For tourism in Iceland, so changes regarding quarantine and so on.
Perhaps should we go through them or first? You write good Icelandic though. Do you know it pretty well, or?
You can't imagine how long it takes to me. I have to review, correct, look for spelling and so.
Yeah. Well,
Icelandic
me too also.
I am using Icelandiconline.com. 1, 2, 3
okay.
now.
Okay.
Congratulations.
The first question actually is fun because you mentioned the book Iceland. What's it called in French?
Lille.
Lille.
Yeah.
It means like being deserted on an island, basically, in Icelandic at least.
Yeah.
It's an interesting book because I read it and it's like it's a horrific story. It's very brutal and like, and it's not that far away from the virus. That's true. It's like unexplained. Like disappearance of the outer world somehow, and it means that an island like an Iceland is completely isolated, and there are like tough questions that we face when that happens, because like we really don't have food for everyone. I think we if perhaps everything would close up in Iceland and there were no transportation or anything, we would have food for around 100,000 people, and we are 350,000. Yeah. So it's pretty given. We would be in a very bad state. So how it plays out in the novel is pretty smart and very well done. But the question is basically, do I feel like it's the same atmosphere right now? And not really. It's like, because there's one very clear extinction. It's like she is very bleak when it comes to like how she sees everything developing. But what happened in Iceland is like in the COVID, for example, it's like we united very well. It's like And it's the thing, like you see Icelanders do this from time to time, like every 50 years, I guess. And we are like we completely unite about something, and therefore when the COVID came, we listened, we followed the rules. There was absolutely no bullshit in the rhetoric. There was no like people that were trying to like confusing the. Like what do you call it? Like umræða, like
the discussion, the discourse.
Yeah, the discourse and discussion. They never got the platform to do it. So Icelanders were very rational about things, which ended up that we were like very calm, and we didn't like attack the shops and like went panic buying like some other countries. We were like.
That was my feeling from your COVID cast.
Yes. Yeah. So we were surprisingly calm about things, and we were surprisingly like helpful to each other, and it was very it was very different in a way, but the questions arose like what will happen if like if transportation can't work and stuff like this. We had to go to the core ideas of like the surviving, which is like I have never been done before, like not willingly at least.
Yes.
Okay.
So did you sometimes feel the same? Like, also, how's life without tourists? That's a good question. Well, there's a debate about this. I think it sucks because I like cities. I like a lot of people in cities, and I like I've been to Paris and other cities in France, and I love like how bustling they are, and that's why like the past 10 years in Reykjavík, it's been transformation of the city has been unbelievable. Right now, Reykjavík is exactly like it was in like the 1990s. Okay. It's very few people, very like many cars driving, because Icelanders don't walk that much. We walk more than we did then, but it's like I think it's a huge loss, to be honest. What do you think, Andy?
I had mixed feelings because on the one hand, I like being able to walk down the sidewalk without having to step into the street to avoid large groups of people who are just parked on the sidewalk staring at a map. I like the nostalgic feeling of late 90s Reykjavík. On the other hand, I work for the Reykjavík Grapevine, and we depend heavily on tourists, and I like to, pay my rent and eat food. So the news yesterday about the restrictions being lifted next month, we all kind of a little bit like I know that we've written a lot of stories about like particular antics here and there of people who visit and act a little bit irresponsibly, but the vast majority of people who visit this country are absolutely wonderful, and they are the reason why our magazine stays afloat. Mm-hmm. So as much as it's nice to like stroll downtown on a Sunday and there's no one around, at the same time, I have to work for a living. So it's been nice, but kind of anxious. So I was really relieved about the news yesterday too.
We also have also like a healthy tourism in Iceland. It's not negative for like, I don't know, like you can imagine like the people in Spain are perhaps bored of the Brits in like Mallorca or whatever, like being drunk, and like can you see us or?
Yes, but I see my face right now.
Okay. Anyways, our tag guy just did like this.
Small area on my screen, but anyway, it's okay. Oh, it's better now.
All right.
Yeah, but basically the point is that we have a very good like tourism of people that love the nature, the nature. It's not the culture of getting here, go to Iceland and get drunk and like paint the town red.
No.
So
that is true. Some of your other questions here, as you said, they were answered in a news article that you had that you read yesterday from us about the Prime Minister lifting the social restrictions. But I think that it would be good for like some of our other readers to be able to hear the answers to these questions, because these are good questions. You said here, like, assuming my flight hasn't been canceled, what will happen to me when I land at Keflavik? So you have some choices where that's concerned. you can either elect to go into 2-week quarantine, but if you're not staying longer than 2 weeks, you can elect to be tested for COVID-19, for coronavirus, like on the spot. I'm not sure yet if that's free.
No, yeah, they have to, like, they're still up for debate how they will do it, and they have until like end of May to like find solutions for this.
The third option is that you can go get tested in France and get like a certificate from your doctor saying that you don't have it, and then you can bring it and present that. But anyone who arrives, there's a link in the news article that I think that we'll post with this when this recording goes live, to an app for both iPhone and Android that is a contagion tracker, and that helps us keep track of like how and where infections are spreading, just to be able to gather that information and keep things under wraps like we've been doing. So no, you won't be like escorted by the police into quarantine or anything like that. Like,
do you have this application, all of you in Iceland, installed on your mobile phone or not?
Yeah, the thing is that the health, like we call it what, the three, like the three people that have been speaking in these press meetings are like the Director of Health, the epidemiologist Valur Grettisson, and the director, like a representative of the Civil Guard in Iceland. And they asked the Icelanders to download this app, and I think like 120 or 30,000 did it like within weeks. So we have it, like at least like most of the adults have it, and it's not a concern. I mean, it's like we have been assured that it will not be misused. The information will not be sold to like tech companies, or like the basic concerns about like Facebook and how they do information.
Yes.
So so at least we trust them until something goes wrong. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, it was a bit different in France because we were supposed to have a similar application available soon, but it's not sure yet we will have it someday.
Oh, so you still don't have it?
No, we don't.
It's a little bit late now, right?
Yeah, probably yes. It might not be only for technical reasons because you have it, different countries have it, so it's no big deal probably. It's more for what you said, because of risks of having information misused or stuff like that. So
we understand that completely, and I was skeptical also. I mean, the government are not always like, they are not very savvy when it comes to technology, I guess. But this looks pretty safe still. And like I said, we have given them the benefit of the doubt for now. If they will mess it up, then Iceland would, of course, that would be a hard situation. So,
but I think one caveat that I'd like to jump in here, because like a couple people were confused by this, even though I felt it was pretty clearly outlined in the article, is that there's a difference between if you're visiting from inside the Schengen area, of which France is a part, or if you're coming from outside. You could be able to visit Iceland as early as May 25th and as late as June 15th if you're from inside the Schengen area. If you're from outside the Schengen area, people listening now or watching the recording later, you'll have to wait till June 15th, probably.
Yeah.
Like Brussels may decide to change their mind where this is concerned and say, you know what, we're closing it down longer than that. And then it will be up to the Ministries of Justice and Foreign Affairs to just make a decision about whether or not they're going to abide this, but they probably will.
It's also an international cooperation.
Yes.
So it means that not only Iceland has something to say about it, it have to be a lot of countries, of course. Yes. Not only the EU will take this decision. I think they have to reevaluate the situation when it comes down to it. I think they will look at it after 2 days, on 15th of May, then they will discuss it, what they will do. If they will decide to close the borders around Europe, basically, so just to keep it simple, any longer, it means that, of course, Canada, the US, New Zealand, Australia, and countries, and all Asia and Middle East, they will all be locked out, of course. So, I mean,
until June 15th, unless Brussels decides otherwise.
Because right now, Iceland have only 2 countries that are not on high-risk lists. This is Greenland and this is the Faroe Islands. That's the only countries in the world that the Icelandic government consider safe right now when it comes to COVID-19, which is pretty interesting.
Both Danish colonies.
Yes, that is true.
You also had a very interesting question about employment in Iceland, I see. And this is somewhat of an area of special interest for me in particular, because, well, I'll just read the question. I strongly hope to spend some time in Iceland in 18 months or 2 years, not only as a tourist, but for living and working. That's why I learn Icelandic. In your opinion, how possible, hopeless, easy, or difficult is it for a not so young but experienced software engineer? Well, you're fortunate in the sense that you are from the EU, and as an EU citizen, you can just come here and start looking for work. You know, like it's part of the agreement that Iceland has as part of the European Economic Area is the free flow of labor across borders. So as far as the field of software engineer is concerned, I mean, I guess it depends what languages you know and what systems you're familiar with. But I think that software engineer is an expanding market. Mm-hmm. And in fact, CCP, as it were, like they were the only company to record any profits after the downturn, weren't they?
There are more like companies, like in the COVID, tech companies are doing very well, actually.
Yeah.
It's like Oracle is one of the companies. There are more companies, like tech companies that are doing quite well right now. Some of the media even, like Siemens is like a web TV, internet thing. All of these companies are doing pretty well. So I think if anyone had the potential to get a job, is actually a man in that area.
Speaking Icelandic or not?
Oh, that doesn't matter, to be honest. I mean, if people ages 8 to 80 in this country speak English, and in a field like software engineering, you're going to have to be, networking with people from different regions of the world.
English is enough for working, English, for living in a country.
For living, I mean, this is an interesting question because, of course you can get by in English, but, I can speak from personal experience, having moved here 20 years ago, that you will naturally want to learn Icelandic. Because you'll want to understand what people around you are saying. You'll want to be able to follow the news. You'll want to be able to communicate with cashiers at the supermarket. Just interacting with Icelandic society itself will encourage you to learn. Fortunately, there's many different ways to learn Icelandic. I learned it, for example, by watching English language and French language television and reading the Icelandic subtitles. I don't recommend this method. I highly recommend going to Icelandic classes.
Yeah.
Especially if you're fortunate enough to have an employer that's part of a union that pays all or most of the cost of your Icelandic classes. The University of Iceland has a really good curriculum called the Practical Diploma in Icelandic. Mm-hmm. And of course, when you make Icelandic friends, you can insist to them that they speak only Icelandic with you. When you start getting
that's a good point.
Getting a handle on some of the basics in Icelandic. I should emphasize though is that might take some convincing, because I have a very strong accent, for example, and when I have spoken Icelandic to Icelanders, they hear that accent, and I think the thought process is oh, this is a foreigner. I'll avoid a whole lot of trouble, and I'll just switch to English. Yeah. French people do this too, I know. So, you have to be insistent if you want to do the immersion method in Icelandic. But Icelanders in general are pretty psyched when someone makes a sincere effort to learn their language, and so I think you'll have no problem finding people who are willing to help you learn.
Very interesting. Well, it's also of course, Icelandic is it's a huge cultural barrier. It's if you're not there, it can be very hard to get into the society. Icelanders are very very language-wise. We like Icelandic and and it's like it's like but it's the language itself is hard to learn. Like even adult Icelanders don't talk it very well, although they always think they do.
No, I sure don't.
It's a pity. It's a pity. Next week I should have been in Ísafjörður for the Icelandic crash course. You know.
Yeah.
It's a 1 week course, but next time.
Yeah.
Exactly. Next time. I also noticed that you had submitted some constructive criticism, in saying I'm quoting you here. I'm very disappointed because Reykjavík Grapevine said nothing about Iceland recommending to hug trees instead of people during the COVID-19 crisis. Please said one of you to a tree hug appropriate place and report about that. Trees in Iceland is also a serious question. Can you elaborate about plans, if there are some, for having more trees in the future? Why didn't we report on this?
It's a good question. I noticed this news in Iceland. They were loud. They were international news, but I thought, I don't know. I did not think this was interesting at the time. There was a lot of COVID going on.
Yeah.
There was a lot of everything was kind of weird at the time.
Yes.
So I guess we kind of missed that one. I guess it was nothing more than that.
Another thing, another excuse I can offer is that our reporting team consists of 3 people. It is myself, Poppy Askham, who's reporting from the UK, I think, and Sam O'Donnell, who's getting really good at Icelandic. So it's the 3 of us, and so we have to do a lot of prioritizing. But of course, I mean, you're right, though. I agree with you. Like this is something we should have reported on. It's a heartwarming story. It's a fun story. It's related to the crisis, but it shows a lighter side of it. Yeah. And so my apologies on behalf of the news department at the Reykjavík Grapevine for passing up on this lead. You know, sometimes my instincts fail me too. But to the question of building up more trees in Iceland, there is an Icelandic Forestry Service, and they regularly plant trees all over the country. You can see when you go into the countryside, when we went to Snæfellsnes just last weekend, my wife and I traveled out there with our photographer Art Bicknick to visit some places on the south coast. You'll be able to see that trip in the next Abandoned Iceland video.
West Coast, right?
The West Coast?
Yeah.
Yes. You drive through an area that is demarcated as belonging to the Icelandic Forestry Service, where they're literally planting a forest. Yeah. And there's locations like this all over the country. It's really important to us as well.
We didn't have trees until in the 90s or 2000 perhaps.
There were trees here in the 2000s.
Yeah, 2000, yeah. But when I grew up here, there were almost no trees. No. It's absolutely different landscape in Iceland, especially in Reykjavík.
Yes.
We have a very different landscape than it was in the 80s and early 90s.
Absolutely.
But it was a huge what do you call it, mission for everybody, a lot of association in Iceland to make more to plant more trees.
Absolutely.
Because also we have a lot of sand and very big places with a lot of sand. And in wind, it's going everywhere, and it's a bummer. So. Yeah.
So I agree with I come from a very forested place. When I was first 8 years of my life anyway, I lived in the mountains in Pennsylvania, and there's a lot of trees there that are much taller than myself. And so when I visited places in Iceland like Hallormsstaðir or Skaftafell National Park, where there's real true forests and stuff, it's absolutely wonderful. It is in that lush volcanic soil and the perpetual sunlight in the summertime. Yeah. Oh, it's just beautiful. Yeah. But yeah, there is the Icelandic Forestry Service is government. Is it government funded or government operated service?
Something like that.
It is anyway a public service that is working tirelessly to reforest Iceland, and I support them 100%.
Okay.
In that effort.
So just to send somebody, let's say Sam, for example, you just send Sam to hug some tree somewhere, I'm waiting to get to ask news about that.
Okay, are you satisfied with the answers?
Very satisfied. Many thanks.
Great. Okay. Just good luck, and I hope everything goes well in France. Where in France are you? In Paris or?
No. Southeast in the Alps, in the mountains, near Lyon.
Okay.
I don't know if you Grenoble.
I've been to Lyon.
So yeah,
Okay.
not Paris at all.
No, okay. Good luck to France, man, and thanks for reading and showing up.
My pleasure. Thanks to you.
Okay.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye bye.
Should we add something to this or?
I don't know. I don't have any particular questions.
Well, if you're watching and you like it and you want to talk to us, tell us to hug more trees or whatever, then we will have another AMA in a month or
Maybe possibly even 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
But this Zoom, this meeting, this AMA, is being presented to those of you who have been some of our sponsored supporters. So those of you who are watching this recording after the fact, I'd like to emphasize that you can get content like this and a lot more and also you'll be doing the altruistic thing and helping support the Reykjavík Grapevine and getting the latest in music, travel, culture, and news in Iceland by becoming a subscriber. Because your humble subscription will help us stay afloat. The borders are going to open again on June 15th, but we have to get through that too. So, what your support is very much appreciated.
We also touched by how many have already decided to support us, and we are very thankful for that, and it really makes a difference.
Absolutely.
So it's we want more, of course, basically because we're greedy, but okay, we need more, but yeah, to those that have already supported us, thanks a million.
Yes.
Literally.
All right. So from the both of us to all of you, thank you for watching and keep following. Become a subscriber, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your continued support.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.